Let's go. So last time we started off with you guys meeting back up in the reception hall, having just left Chipgrin, and you were encountered by a group of children, and one of which actually threw a rock at you all. And though Hestor thought he had kind of a handle on the situation, turns out that kid's daddy was killed by the were-rats, and you were faced for the first time with a layer
You had
that
it coming.
Okay, well,
That's a fact.
here comes the opinions. The first time you'd been faced with anybody being outwardly aggressive towards the actions that you've taken here in the city, and introducing the true dynamic that has kind of been sitting within the city between the people and the Goldwhisker clan. And after that, you delivered the missive to the Diggermatics about the details that Chipgrin wanted them to have for the meeting. And then you all headed towards the Trader's Grotto, picked up a few things, mostly some potions from an odd trader, a very large collection of arrows, before heading out into the outer maze areas of Bligdenstone with a special lantern to help guide your way and dispel illusions cast centuries ago by the ancestors of Bligdenstone. And as you did, you came across, after many hours of searching, this odd trail of small footprints leading through these fungal patches that resembled very large tongues, until you eventually came across a campsite that they had used some days ago. And during the night, after Scylla had created some makeshift dynamite, Hestor, taking the first watch, heard what sounded like the ripping of stalks, only to find that every time they investigated the source of the sound, that some of these tongue-like stalks were missing, but the source of what was causing it was never there. Until eventually, in a longer corridor peeking down, they saw this larger figure, take out a nightlight stalk. And but a few moments later, as they returned to camp to wake the others, they turned around to see this hunchbacked, pointed-eared, hooded with this beautiful kind of robed and embroidered hood and gown over them, breathed in their face and said, "Sleep." So, Hestor, I need you to go ahead and make a will save.
Okay.
Will save.
Is this a he's Pathfinder brain? It's okay. Is this a spell?
This is a special ability.
Okay. All right. Yikes. 6.
You
I'm sure.
instantly fall asleep. And
Have fun, guys.
a number of hours later, you all awake. Scylla and Artomis, you find yourselves in camp. However, you don't see Hestor. And Hestor, you awake in the same tunnel where you had fallen asleep. The lantern lays on the ground next to you, but there is no trace of whoever this hunchbacked figure was or where they went.
But I don't see the camp though.
Well, you had moved through a couple of tunnels following the sign, so like you're around a corner and a number of feet away from the camp.
Okay. All right, I will collect the lantern. And do I still have all my belongings?
You check and you find that you do.
Okay.
Oh, Starcaller, did
Well.
Hestor not wake you for your
No. Oh my god.
watch?
It looks like they did not. But we are still alive. So that's good. But that's not like him. Do you think he's okay?
I'll look around for Hestor. Is he visible from here?
No.
Yeah, Scylla will then, like, jump up and gather everything, and we'd best start looking.
Indeed. No. away. We will find him among the tongues.
It takes you just a couple moments as you're gathering things up, and Hestor, as you wake up, that you realize that someone's moving from just a tunnel over. And eventually you guys actually do find yourselves face to face again. Hestor has some bits of stone kind of like pressed into his face and whatnot from sleeping on the floor, the hard ground.
Hestor, are you all right? Did someone knock you unconscious?
I was going to ask if you were all right. Something. I found something, but it put me to sleep. It didn't. I don't think it took anything. Do you guys have everything?
I'll do a thorough search.
Yeah, that's why.
You search through all of your belongings and you account for everything.
No, Hestor, when you said you found something, did you meet someone, or have you imbibed hallucinogenic mushrooms?
No, there was a creature. There was something eating the stalks nearby. I investigated slightly, and I was coming back to rouse you all, and I got ambushed. It was bouncing around everywhere. It was strange.
I see. Spooky.
How tired were you?
Not incredibly. Speaking of, do we still get the benefits of a rest?
Yeah.
Okay. I honestly don't know what happened. I don't...
Are there any tracks around?
Make a survival check.
Good point.
I'll help.
Thank you. 13.
You're looking about, and Hestor, I'm assuming you probably indicate the area where you were, and
Yeah.
do you tell them anything about exactly what happened?
I mean, yeah, I would relay all of it.
Okay. So you're looking about, and you see that where Hestor had fallen, like about where you could see kind of like the imprint of where their face and their arms had kind of been, right before it, you see what look like knuckle imprints in like the dirt, and then a few feet back, what look like long nailed humanoid footprints.
This is concerning. Clearly, Hestor did not dream this up, as I am seeing some strange footprints here, and well, come take a look.
This is a very interesting man of person you met, but on the bright side, it doesn't appear they mean us any real harm.
No,
they
but
would have done it.
Just wondering why they put me to sleep if they weren't gonna do anything. Like they could have just said, "Hi, I'm a stranger. Fuck off."
Maybe they were not sure if you were a threat, Hestor.
Perhaps.
You said they were wearing embroidered clothing?
I believe so.
Were there any, like, designs or anything to give a sort of sense of who
DM,
they were?
did I get anything like that? Was there any status or group identity to the clothing, or was it just nicer looking clothing?
Roll a history check.
Okay. God, I used to have a character that was good at those.
Ah, beans. Whatever happened to them?
12.
Nothing that you personally recognize, no. The one thing you do remember about it is that it seemed old. While very nice, it seemed old, and there was like fraying as well in certain patches.
Okay. So if my favored enemies are humanoids of the elvish and kobold persuasion, and that gives me uh, advantage on checks to recall information about it.
Mhm.
Would that help in this instance?
In part, something about the features of this individual or creature seemed
Right.
very elvish. However, the hunched back, the track with the long nails and the
Yeah.
very extended arms and their hands, you're now recalling it. They were very thin and lanky until they got to like the fingertips, which were very bulbous, and then this long kind of like hooked nail came out of the tips. Very, very interesting. But you didn't see their face. You do remember
Mm,
that from the sides of the hood came these long, kind of scarred ears, and that
right.
there seemed to be hair of some sort coming out from underneath the hood as well. But their face you could not see.
Yeah. I mean, I don't recall anything about the clothes. Nothing identifiable anyway. There was definitely some elvish physiology, but the creature as a whole seemed twisted and mutated. I couldn't.
I
I wouldn't
wonder
be
if
able to
this
place
is
anything.
I wonder if this is one of the people we are looking for.
It might be. They clearly don't want us to find them, or they want
Well,
us to have a good night's sleep.
Ah, so they might be a healer. They're always telling us to get a good
Hmm.
night's sleep.
That's true.
I wonder if we were to return here this evening, if this is somewhere that they often prowl and snack, perhaps we should return and try and be awake the next time as a group when they come back.
I mean, is there any reason why we don't try to track them down today? If
Do you
this
think
is
you
in
can
fact the
follow?
person
Tracks?
we're trying to find,
Can you follow their tracks, Hestor?
I should be able to. If they're here and they continue, I can track them.
I was
Make a survival check if you want to try to find them.
Okay. All right. Would you consider this creature elvish or humanoid enough
Yes.
for me to have advantage on that check? Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need it. Oh, that's way better. Natural 3 to a natural 19.
Nice.
22.
Okay. From the tracks that you can see where they stood before you when you fell, you don't see anything at first, but as you're kind of like looking about, you see about 12 feet away those same imprints now facing into the tunnel that heads to the east. And you would intuit that this person just leapt and then turned in the air and then landed in that position. And then you see they must have been running in some kind of like primate-esque way, using their front limbs to help propel them forward, because you can see more of the knuckle marks digging into the ground, and you can see more of the claw marks, and you can see at times they stopped I'm assuming you're following these tracks.
Yeah.
As you continue down the path, you can see they like crawled up on the wall, and in even a couple instances they were on the ceiling, and then at one point you see the tracks totally disappear, but a different set of footprints do appear. More animalistic. They're hooved. And they're not bipedal, but you see that there's 4 of them, and it continues on for a while as you get into a rockier set of terrain, and you see before you is like this kind of jagged drop down into the further depths of the underdark, but you can see marks where this hooved creature was jumping from like ledges along the rock walls and seemingly heading towards the other side of this gap. This gap is about 40 feet long. It is 20 feet at its widest in the middle, and then 15 about a quarter of the way on either side, and then 10 feet where it meets the tunnel entrance to you guys.
So, sorry, just so I understand, there's no, like, this is a gap, there's no way across. This creature, like, basically wall ran, like,
Not
jumped on ledges.
Not wall run. You would think by the tracks that you've seen that there was some kind of like... Have you ever seen a mountain goat and how they cling to the sides seemingly... You can see little spots like that along the walls here, and you can see that there's like scuff marks. So whatever this creature was leapt from little small ledge points along the side to the other. Not exactly like Prince of Persia or video game-esque, just like running on the wall.
Funny you should mention that. Could I borrow a rope, please? Scylla, I believe you have one?
Yes, of course.
Alright, you hold...
Pull it out.
I'll take one end, and I'm gonna Prince of Persia wall run across the ledge because I have slippers of spider climb.
Nice.
Okay. You do so. You run across and you have this rope. Are you just going to hold on to it? Or are you trying to secure it? What's your plan here?
I would like to fashion a fine sailor's knot onto a stalagmite, if I could.
Okay. Yeah, let's roll me a straight up dex check.
All right. A straight up dex check from me to you. It's a 10.
Nice. That's enough. You tie onto the stalagmite, and you try to secure a decent point for... I'm assuming everybody's like tightrope walking this?
Well, question in that regard, how are we securing it on our end?
There's another stalagmite that you could tie to if you want to try and tightrope walk this. There will be acrobatics checks.
Okay.
Hestor, how confident are you in being able to cross this?
Well, I have gloves that help me with climbing. I'm not sure how much this applies. Yeah, climbing and swimming don't cost extra movement, and I have a +5 to athletics checks made to climb or swim. I don't know how this translates. I have a decent-ish shot. Like, Dex is my highest stat.
I could make this not life or death for us.
I mean, I would love any opportunity for this to not be life or death.
I'm over here. It is this way. On the other side. Yes, this way.
You are not the authority on surviving gaps.
Yeah.
I don't know what you mean.
I will grasp Hester's shoulder and dimension door us across.
I thought you were gonna yeet me, but this is way better.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right, so you leave the rope all tied up, and you dimension door
we might
across.
have to come back. Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
Well, that's for later, I guess.
That's a tomorrow problem.
Okay. So you make it to the other side. Hestor, make another survival check. All of you are welcome to do this.
Can I help Hestor?
Yeah.
I mean, I already have advantage, and I already rolled another natural 19.
Never mind. I guess you already had advantage.
7.
You're giving them moral support.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
17.
Nice.
Whoa.
Scylla, what
22.
you get? 22.
7.
7, okay. You come through, and Hestor, you find those same hoof tracks turn into those humanoid footprints. and continue on further into this tunnel.
The, like, ape-ish
Into the
footprints that
apish-like gate, yeah.
This...
Was this creature red? Is this perhaps the creature that Starcaller is looking for?
I do not think so. What I was seeking is much larger, and would probably just have ripped him to shreds, if I'm being honest.
No, this seems to be a shapeshifter of some kind.
And we do not believe it was the individual we had previously met, Starcaller, back when we were with,
Indeed. But I wouldn't expect so.
I don't remember his name.
What was this? What individual was this?
Before, he's the one that fell with Sefel.
Ivan.
Oh,
Ivan.
Ivan. No, he was like full on goat.
Right,
He's
this
a
is
big
half
old
goat.
goat
My
man.
bad.
Yeah. I mean...
Yeah,
he could've-
Ivan couldn't turn into a gorilla, Sam.
How long did we know him? You don't know.
Listen, he could invade... He invaded our dreams, okay?
And then he made you sleep. Pretty fucking convenient.
You know what? That's a valid point. I don't have an argument.
Or, Scylla, you once told me of a terrifying red creature who would shapeshift in all sort of monstrous ways. Could this be that creature?
Unfortunately, no. That creature is deceased.
He dead. He's super fucking dead.
Too beautiful to live. Yes.
Absolutely.
It is funny you should say that. He had a beautiful soul.
That
But
was
he-
about it.
He did fall into lava. So, definitely
Oh,
gone.
I'm now remembering the circumstances in which I first met you, Scylla.
Yes.
Desperate times. Desperate
Listen,
times.
I'm glad to reminisce about all of your dead friends, but can we continue to track the sorry, was that too blunt?
No, it was the call to war we needed. Let's go after the shapeshifter that we know very little
Yes.
about.
Let's find Ivan.
Yes.
Okay, let's go.
We keep dragging.
You continue on forward into this path, and as you do, you start finding yourself switching back and changing directions, but all the while this gorilla-esque like movement, these tracks continue forward until eventually you start coming into a large amount of fungal thickets. And now it's getting so claustrophobic within these tunnels because of it all that you're having to move in single file. Who's leading the charge through this?
Definitely Hestor.
Okay.
Because he's tracking and I can make this not difficult terrain for us.
All right. As you're all pushing forward, your movement becomes a lot slower. Basically down to 10 feet. If we were going to do this round by round, 10 feet per round. You're essentially squeezing. There is torch stalks and night lights and various types of fungi that you haven't necessarily been able to identify thus far in your trips that are like brushing against your face and your body and breaking off on you. And you can see that the tracks definitely led this way, Hestor, but then they stopped right before this fungal thicket. Make another survival check.
Okay. Natural 20. 23.
Nice. You kneel down and you investigate the earth very poignantly, and you see that there were these very small reptilian footprints that all of a sudden appear and move along the floor of this tunnel, weaving between all the different stalks of this fungi without, disturbing any of it, making it seem like they hadn't, whatever this creature is, didn't pass through here. So you continue forward, I'm assuming, through this fungal thicket?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need you all to make dexterity saving throws as you pass through this.
No.
Because as you are breaking all this fungi, different things start to happen.
Are we following Halson?
What?
You're following Hestor. Are you following Van Helsing? Sure.
No,
No.
Halson.
She said
Halson.
Halson.
Gotcha.
Druid.
Yes. Yes, this
Jeez.
probably is somebody of the druid persuasion.
I got 12.
Okay.
You said Dex save?
Mm-hmm.
I can add my shield's AC bonus to Dex saving throws against a spell or other harmful effect that targets you.
Sounds awful.
I'll
It
let
would
you.
have to
I'll let you have
target
it.
her specifically.
I mean, there's vegetation that is breaking. This is to see if you inhale or accidentally ingest any of the spores or pieces of this various fungi. So I'll let you use the shield bonus, Sam. You see this stuff
Okay.
coming at you. You don't know what's happening. You try to cover yourself.
Okay. 9.
Fucking Jesus. Fail.
When you're
Fighting for the extra 2.
when you're fighting for the +1, yeah.
Yeah.
Plus 3. My shield is
Artemis, what was yours again? 12?
12.
Okay. Brendan?
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. That was 6 plus 3 from the shield is 9 plus 2 from my Dex. 11.
Wow, you
Still
really
fail.
are fighting.
But
hey,
good.
The DC
Hey,
was
that's good.
10.
Hester?
26.
Okay. Hester's all right.
Damn.
I'm going to roll a d6 to see which fungi is going to affect you, Andrew. I need you, a gray piece of fungus comes down and lands into your mouth, and out of reflex, you swallow it. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
All right.
19.
Okay, you're good. You feel this compulsion start to kind of come over you, but you manage to, and all these intrusive thoughts start coming to the forefront of your mind until eventually that you kind of steel yourself and you're like, oh, what the hell? And then you're fine. Scylla.
Oh.
Okay, you're the last one to pass through this, but as you hit something with your shield up, these spores all of a sudden explode out around you. I also need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
24.
You're okay. You feel as these spores start to kind of sparkle in front of your face, you're it's almost like your eyes start to become red and you feel like you're losing track of your friends before you until eventually you're able to push forward enough and get through them and wipe them from your eyes that you regain focus and are able to continue on.
I do love all of these sparklies, but we should hurry.
They're sparklies. Hester, as you push forward, eventually you come into a wider path and this fungus starts to get a little bit clearer. And there's less of it hindering your way. And then eventually you see what looks like an opening, and the tunnel becoming wider. And then you see what look like small fungal trees, and surrounding some of their blossoms are these glowing bugs that you've seen various times throughout the Underdark. Nothing of consequence by any mean. This is what the tunnel looks like. And so before you is this pink, almost blossom-like tree with these odd kind of glowing bugs moving around them. You can see them kind of like digging into the flowers and some of the odd looking, what you might think is like fruit of a sort. But you see it starts to get a little bit wider beyond. How do you guys proceed? If you want to proceed.
Hestor, Artomis, perhaps pass the lantern to Scylla if you would like to scout ahead.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I will, I'll hand off the lantern. I will try to... What's the lighting situation like?
Other than the bioluminescent fungi, it's like slightly shadowed, but I would say that there's almost full light within this space because of all the different night stalks and torch stocks and such.
All right, so I will try to be as stealthy as possible, and just skirt ahead.
Okay, go ahead and move your token for me. You should have control. I double checked earlier.
I do.
There we go. Okay, it's just doing it. As you step forward into this widening path, you see that there is a way to the south and a way to the north that moves on. And to the path to the north, it seems to go up about 25-30 feet, and then it looks like it starts to arc to the east. When you look to the south, it goes to the southeast, and then it looks like it branches off directly to the east past this large glowing green fungi bed, and then it goes south, and you can see the edges of what looks like another one of those trees, but it's now in an orange color.
Can I see these tracks extending anywhere?
Yeah, you see these tracks everywhere. They're no longer in lizard-like pattern, but you see these humanoid footsteps everywhere.
Okay. I'm going to stealth down to the south towards this orange cluster.
Mm-hmm.
Look down that path there.
You see that it continues south, and as you're kind of peeking around the corner, it looks like it starts to continue to the east a little bit.
I'm going to keep skirting down next to that wall.
You eventually peek into a space here that looks like a bedroom of sorts. You see up to the northern corner is this old rotted-esque desk with these homemade looking candles with all sorts of wax pooling off of them, burning atop it. And you see that there's different clippings of what you would assume is some kind of parchment or paper. You see that there's a chair there, and then you see what looks like a very old bed covered in blankets. And you see a kind of purplish large flower with some more of these bugs kind of taking up the space here. But that's what you see in this southern room.
Hestor's gonna return to the group briefly.
Okay.
Whatever that creature or that person is, I think we've stumbled into their home. I'm slightly conflicted about, sneaking around without announcing ourselves. It feels intrusive and not a good way to start a relationship in which we are looking for a favor.
Would you like me to go in and introduce myself?
I think some sort of announcement, perhaps a skosh lighter than your usual abrasive introductions, but...
Yes, Starcaller, I do think perhaps you're too abrasive for this.
Wow, people love me. I'm the lion of the deep. People go crazy for that.
No, to be clear, we are not downplaying your raw charisma.
Yeah.
It is a little bit intimidating upon first introduction. I would not
well
want
said.
to scare this person away.
Well, perhaps, Scylla, you're much less scary than I. I look over at the monstrous fish lady. Yeah, perhaps you
Yes.
will make introduction.
I am happy to do so.
Alright, I will stand nearby in case I'm, you want to tag me in.
I don't know what that means, but yes.
Yes.
Those are not the things you say yes to.
Yes. Good.
I will announce my presence, and she will start to stride forward.
Okay, you say you're announcing your presence. How exactly are you announcing your presence here as you march forward?
Yeah.
With the blood of the innocents.
I mean, Scylla, yeah, right. Scylla
I will
is,
murder you.
Scylla is very not stealthy. She's disadvantaged on stealth because of her heavy armor. So I think she's just like not trying to be quiet at all.
Mm-hmm.
And she will just like walk forward and keep an eye out for any movement. And then if she doesn't see anything, she will like call out like
Anybody see
hello?
the video? I mean, there's
Hello?
hundreds of them. But anybody see that video of the black bear that just like pushes the door open and walks into the person's house?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, right.
Yes.
that's all I'm thinking of right now. Like, this is open, right?
My name is Scylla, and I am here to greet you. I have friends as well, but I am mostly alone.
Can you
Alone
move
is
your
like a state
token
of
in the
being,
direction
man.
that you want to be going
Okay.
towards there, Sam?
Yeah.
Are you taking the middle path? You going north?
I'm
So
going
you're going
middle.
You're going mid? Okay.
I am walking down the middle path, and I am armed, but my weapons are stowed.
Is this what
you
you
don't
had in
hear
mind,
anything
Hester?
in response.
It should have been, and if it wasn't, it's my own damn fault.
Wise.
As you walk farther forward, Scylla, you can see that this becomes a much larger cavern. And you actually start to see that there is a table and chairs. And you can see far against the other side is the glow of a fireplace, like a hearth. And you see some boxes, and there's more fungi around. And it looks like on the far edges, it looks like there's cultivation beds and tables with various instruments and like crucibles, mortars, and pestles, everything about the space there. But you don't make a perception check.
Yeah. It's lovely in here. I am approaching your hearth. 7.
Yeah, you don't see anybody there.
She's gonna go close to the fire to like
Okay.
be in the light.
You see that there's a path that goes to the south a little ways into what could be perhaps another cavern of sorts, and then far to the north you can see there's very large tendrilled plant kind of sitting in its own alcove, but you don't see anybody.
I will head south. It would seem you are proficient in gardening. I also enjoy plants. Aquatic are my preferred kind.
She is a
We're either
master negotiator, Hester. Incredible.
We're either yelling into an empty house or we're about to get murdered.
Yeah, right.
You enter into what is very clearly a storeroom of sorts. You see various dried herbs, goods, odd-looking, very grainy types of breads, dried meats. You see barrels, very similar to what you had seen in like the foaming mug. You even recognize like some of the different types because they're like burned onto the side. And you see candles on some of these tables, once again, kind of burning low.
Okay. I will, now that I realize there's truly no one here, I will get out a piece of my parchment paper
Mm-hmm.
and I will leave a note on the table.
One of these tables in this
Um,
bar cavern here?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, no, I want to leave the note on this dining table, like right in the center.
Okay. Hestor and Artemis, what are y'all doing as you hear Scylla in the distance calling out and doing this?
Well, this seems like it's going super well. But just in case, Artemis is gonna like take a knee, put his hand against the ground, and I'm gonna pop a divine sense to see if I can feel any celestial, fiend, or undead presence within 60 feet.
Okay. You don't feel any of those.
Well, I got nothing.
I mean, it feels strange, but we could always wait here for them to come back.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know how much time has passed, but
It's maybe been like you're probably, as this is happening for them, you're probably just now beginning to write down your note.
okay.
All of you make perception checks.
Okay, okay. Alright, better. 13.
8.
5.
Okay.
Wow.
Artemis and Hestor, you don't pick up on any new signs. I imagine you're kind of like looking back to the tunnel that you came through. You're looking ahead. You could hear Scylla for a little bit, but now you don't really hear her voice anymore. Scylla, you're writing down this note, and what are you writing exactly?
Yeah, Scylla's writing, hello, friend. I entered into your home but touched none of your belongings or any of your plants. I was hoping to have a conversation with you and get directions. We are seeking, and I'll like list out like this forge and a tattoo artist and a profound healer and Entomoc's boon. We are hoping that if you live here, you can provide directions. We will return in roughly half a day or so, perhaps a full day if we do not find you. If this is your home, we assume you will be back. Scylla.
As you're like just about to finish up this note, you hear a voice. Why do you call me friend though you don't know me?
Oh! Hello. My name is Scylla, and I consider those who I do not know friends because friendship is given, not earned.
But you have not even seen me yet.
Perhaps. I suppose it is confusing, but why would your appearance make a difference as to if you are friendly?
Look up.
I look up.
You look up and you see this hunchbacked, elven-featured individual in this like dark embroidered clothing hanging downwards from the cavern ceiling, and they just drop and they just clatter into like all fours on the table, and they have these long, very long arms, and once again like their face is somewhat covered in shadow, but they're big and they're not even standing up. So that's what she looks like as she collapses onto this table. She's got these long clawed hands and feet. She's got these robes over her. She's got pouches kind of like near where you would assume their waist is. But she goes, "Are you not frightened of me?"
Are you frightened of me?
I am always wary of strangers, as they often harm more than help.
I must admit that since leaving the lake, I have also run into many who would rather harm than help.
Scylla, you've been weirdly quiet in there for a few minutes. Are you okay?
What'd you say, Will?
Do you travel with this small gnome?
I do. I travel with a small gnome who is half rat and also a large lion.
I thought I smelled curse upon him. The large feline one I did not see the other night.
It is quite weird, I know.
Written most of your note.
And she like picks it up and they like kind of hobble forward. They walk like Smeagol does, just so you know. Like that's the vibe here until they like step off of the table and then they start to like stand up as straight as they can. How tall are you, Scylla?
Great question. Also,
You're like,
when they I have it in my when they pick up the note, Scylla will also be like, yes, look, it is magical. And she shows her that she wrote it with her emerald pen. So it's like illusory script. She's 6 feet.
Okay. This individual is almost 2 feet taller than you as they start to stand fully upright. And it's just incredibly, irregularly long limbs. And she looks at the note and her like, then she bends down and you can hear like the creaking and cracking of her bones in her body. And she gets closer to you and she goes,
"It is a very beautiful pen. You should keep that close to you. I am sure it is quite valuable."
It has all the more value because it has found use today, and also, thank you.
You're very welcome. All things of beauty should be admired. Why don't you welcome your friends into my home, seeing as they are standing at my doorstep?
We would be so honored. Starcaller, Hestor.
Oh.
And what is your name? My name is Scylla.
It is a pleasure, Scylla. I am afraid I have no name. I have not been called by any such name in many years.
Would you like a name? Or are you happy without a name?
I am fine. Those that find me call me what they will. Some say witch. Some say monster. Some friend.
Friend. And she, as they like come in, I think Scylla will also be like, "Come, Hestor, Starcaller, this is friend. Friend, Hestor, Starcaller," and she's like pointing them out.
Hello.
Hello.
Hestor,
again.
you recognize, yeah. She this individual like gets down on all floors again and like stalks forward, and even with like being in that position and they're hunched back in their lower face, they're still like 5.5 feet tall.
Oh yeah.
But it's like a large dog or like bear creeping towards you.
They're
It's very
for me. It is
unnatural.
very much like a bear.
Yeah. So they're like, their face is coming right up to yours, Hestor, and you can now see inside the hood what was covering their face. They have this like long, curly, matted silver hair that kind of comes down. And then inside are these overly large eyes, one of which appears to be a little more asymmetrical. So one's a little bit larger than the other. And then the nose is much more human. And then the mouth is kind of unnaturally wide. But some of it is kind of like caught up and seems a little twisted towards the edges. And she's got this dark purplish gray skin. But she like stalks forward to you, Hester. She goes,
I apologize for last night. I must take precautions when new people come near my home.
I completely understand, but with all the respect due, ma'am, I don't think I could pose a threat to you in your territory.
Humble.
and then she like kind of throws herself over in this lope to land in front of Artemis. And then they start to like, because how tall is Artemis? You're pretty big as well, right?
Yeah, like 6'3", 6'4", I believe.
Okay. So she starts to like stand up and elongate herself. You hear that creaking and cracking, and her arms are kind of like staying up close towards their chest. And she goes,
I have not seen your kind before. What exactly
yes.
are you?
We are, my people, the Leonin, are strangers to the dark. We usually trod upon the golden plains above. But I am the lion of the deep. I am he who climbs through caverns.
A surface dweller. I do not often see your kind. Fascinating. So,
and she like unnaturally fast whips back and like skirts around the table and then comes back into this like standing form. You notice that whenever she walks, she always walks on all fours. And so she comes back up into standing and she's like gripping onto the back of a chair. She's like,
so you come for help. What can this cursed being do for you?
Are you perhaps a healer or a tattoo artist or the ghost of a burrow warden?
I know nothing of these ghosts of burrow wardens. A tattooer I am not, but I have heard of a dreamer, someone who can capture the images. As for healing, I have done some of that. In my time, it is some of the things people have sought me for in the past.
Hester will step forward slightly. You find us at a disadvantage. I come to you with a request if you are, in fact, versed in medicine. I come from a colony of bearers of my curse.
I can smell it on you.
Yeah, Artemis made that very clear earlier. They've come upon hardship lately. Our numbers are dwindling, and the survivors are in dire need of help that they don't have the resources to find. I told them I would strike out and find someone to help them, and they told me of someone I assume is you, a healer on the outskirts.
As I have said, some have sought me for these healings. Do you require a means of escaping your curse? Is this the healing that you seek?
No. No, just sickness, disease, wounds, that kind of thing.
And how many must be tended?
A few dozen.
Do they have anything for trade? I am always looking for new herbs and supplements that I might use to extend upon the arts.
Can you use oozes or puddings in any significant way?
I have experimented with slimes before. I could be willing to try. They do have certain properties that could be useful. Do they have these in good supply?
Overstocked, really.
Yes, the supply is quite full. It's sort of a buyout. Get what you can before it's gone kind of deal.
Interesting. Will they accept my form?
I don't think my people are in any place to judge the way you look, ma'am.
It is true. Perhaps as two bearers of curses, they will be more accepting. Many of those cursed, such as us, have found me. Perhaps it's an odd matter of fate.
Friend, what is it that you are cursed with?
This twisted and mutilated body that you see. A family curse. Mine were once of drow, from a great city that I've never seen. My parents only ever spoke of how they sought to harness a wild magic. And because of their deviation from those that considered themselves superior, we were struck down, forever to bear the twisted forms of the magic they studied.
I am so sorry to hear that that was a result of the people you lived with and your family.
It was far before my time, but I appreciate the sympathy that you set forth.
Might I
Are you
ask?
in pain?
Constant pain, but I have come to learn to live with it, and my salves often do bring alleviation.
Might I ask the city your family was investigating?
It was not the city they investigated. It was where they were from. It was the wild magics that surround us here in the underdark they sought to try to understand, to harness. Menzo
The
Berenzin was where they were from. And yes, the Ferez is what they sought to control. You.
I don't
She stalks forward to both you and to you, Scylla, and Hester.
I will help your friends, provided I may have specimens of these oozes you speak of. Wait but a moment, and I will gather some of my things.
And she had kind of been like bracing herself on the table, scooting around, getting closer to you all. But then she turns away and once again sinks down into her four-legged movement and moves into that southern room. And you can see hear that she's gathering bottles and different things. What is going through everybody's heads right now?
Scylla's like, just another day, another normal person. Wonder if I can help her break this curse thing. That's wild.
It's not. It could not be soon enough for me to get out of this festering hellhole they call the Underdark.
Yeah.
I mean, even the cool people are terrifying, and the terrifying people are indescribable.
Yeah, this is now the drow that assaulted Bligdenstone were
Mhm.
also from Menzoberranzan, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think between this person and the Medusa, I think Hestor is just sort of pondering like all of the punishment he's seen,
Mhm.
like sort of the through line of drow searching for powers beyond themselves and nothing but punishment falling
Yeah.
on them. It
Um
just sort of the misfortune of that.
yeah. She kind of comes back and she's like peeking around a corner, and then she kind of like saddles her way forward a little bit more, and she goes,
Um, I know we have just met, but I have been a rude host. Do you need any food or drink while I prepare myself?
Uh,
I think we would be rude to turn down such hospitality, but only if you have anything to spare.
I do.
and she like scuffles back off into the storeroom, and a minute or two later she comes back, and you can see that now she's like holding these large kind of wooden zirkwood platters, and she's like walking forward, but she's very unsteady on her back legs. Like you could see the shaking, and she's like kind of hobbling back and forth. It looks like she's about to fall until eventually she just kind of like surges forward in the last 10 feet and kind of like drops the trays that kind of slide a little bit on the table. And she goes,
Pardon my clumsiness. and, refreshments. Would you care for something homemade or something I've received in trade? I do have some dwarven and gnomish ales.
I
I
would love to taste something homemade.
I quite agree with my companion. I'm curious what one can brew here in the Underdark, as I am myself only recently here.
Tea, hot, cold, or alcoholic?
Oh, a warm tea would be quite bracing on a day such as this.
I would have to agree.
Make it 3.
3 it is.
and they once more return to that far kitchen and storeroom, and then they come back and they set up this kettle by the fire. And as they're working, she like turns back towards you all, and she's like,
Can you promise that no harm shall come to me for doing this? For helping you?
Friend, I would make a vow that nothing will harm you. I swear it.
and her like large mismatched eyes are looking towards you, Hester and Starcaller.
Hester is sort of stuck in his own internal conflict of where Bligdenstone is right now, and is just seeing and feeling that kid slapping him in the face,
Mm.
and he just quietly nods.
We will and Artemis looks over at Scylla and Hester. We will accompany you. We will ensure the city Bliggenstone where we will venture is a place fraught with a certain amount of internal strife. But we will see that you are not harmed.
Thank you for that.
And at that point, the kettle is now, steaming, and she comes over and she starts pouring it for you all and putting in these collection, she's pouring it over these like loose herbs and dried fungi. And the aromas are very rich in the food. You see that there's dried cheeses, there are fungus, there's this hearty bread.
She goes, please eat. And tell me more of what plagues you.
And that's where we'll leave it this week.
Ooh, wait, that was a wild ending on that one. But you know what? We're glad you're here. We are rapidly getting close to 100 episodes, and it is great to have you here in the outro. Couple quick things. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. We are publishing all of our episodes out to YouTube so that you can actually watch us playing the game instead of just listening. And then if you want to hop over in our Discord, we've got all sorts of people in there talking about the podcast. And, you know, we're also talking about Baldur's Gate, because Baldur's Gate is out right now, and we're all loving it. And then we've got maps up in the Discord channel, some extra content with some other things. And if you have questions for us as players, we've got a little channel in there that you could submit for the bonus action segments. So really loving that. We hope to see you there. You can find all of our links at linktree.com/themadnesstable. And I think that's it. So we'll see you next time when...
The madness continues.